Okay.
Ooh.
Jesus. This cast is terrible.
What is it, episode 43?
44, you got it wrong. Damn, you're on a hot streak, too.
Well, I mean, it's been a while since we've done it. It's been a while.
Yeah, one of the leading causes of it being a while was Texas pretty much was 4 minutes and 37 seconds from a complete shutdown. I don't know if you saw that headline.
No, I didn't hear that specific headline.
Yeah, apparently like ERCOT was like the entire like grid of Texas was 4 minutes and 37 seconds away from like a complete blackout that would have lasted weeks, and it's like nice.
Well, they better get that shit fixed.
Yeah, long story short, Texas froze over and shit hit the fan, and yeah, good one.
Yeah, people had like icicle waterfalls coming out of their ceilings. Stuff that you would think was from like Metro.
Yeah, and realize this is in Houston, Texas.
Done?
Dude, you know why we had the freeze? It's because Harden left and we're not good fans.
God, what a fucking piece of shit.
Dude, when I saw that quote, I knew that you probably saw that and like threw your phone. Like your phone's probably got like shatters in it from that.
Dude, all I know is that I need to get the next 2K game and then just make a character that's like 7, like the biggest I can make him and the fattest I can make him, and then just constantly just flagrant foul Harden in a game until he gets hurt.
I mean, if we can do that online, let me know. I'll do the same thing.
People get pissed, but yeah, you could.
All right, well, anyway, so yeah, this is episode 44. There's been a handful of shit that's happened. Okay, does that mean the cast is ending?
Yeah, I
wasn't even smiling yet. We can't end it like that. No, but a lot of stuff's happened, and I know we'll touch on a little bit of it. I know I pretty much asked, like, hey, what are we going to talk about? And Vitch was just like, it's a surprise, so I have no clue what to expect, which means we probably have a lot of the same stuff to talk about.
Oh, I actually don't have anything that dramatic. I've got just an interesting article from PC Gamer around game mechanics that we will all recognize that have been, I guess, legally protected by the companies that made them. So just stuff that we'll go through and we'll recognize. You know, you'll be like, oh, I remember that.
Okay.
It's just interesting to see what kind of things have been patented by these companies inside the games.
I didn't realize like how deep patenting can go. Like you can patent like the smallest, like most minute detail, and you'll be like, "That's a patent, that's mine." And it's like, are you kidding? I'm curious to see in terms of games, like what that's going to be.
Right. And then I have Cyberpunk. Not an update on the litigation. Just I've played probably 6 to 7 hours of Cyberpunk now, so I've got a review.
Probably more.
I've had to reload a lot because I've been trying to do things a certain way too.
Okay.
I'll talk about some of the bugs I've seen, and then there's a fun story from Cyberpunk that is a bug, which I wish it wasn't a bug because it'd actually be really badass if it wasn't a bug. And if I was CD Projekt Red, I would have pretended that it wasn't a bug to try to, because it's so cool. Anyways, I'll talk about that in a minute. And then also, Wesley Snipes appears to be upset that he is not included in that new Blade movie I ranted about a few casts ago.
Okay.
So he has announced that from GameSpot, by David Walensky, posted today, actually, February 25th, 2021, Wesley Snipes is making a Blade Killer movie. So
dude.
Wesley Snipes is going to be back at it, making something that he intentionally is calling a Blade Killer, which I'm hyped for. Let's go. I'll support that shit all day. Let's go.
No, I mean, like I said, like nothing against like, the other Blade and stuff, but it's like hearing Wesley Snipes coming back to like make essentially what he's envisioning to be a better Blade movie. Like I'm in. I'm so fucking in.
So what he said in this article, he said that when they made the original Blade movies, he said he and my fellow actors and actresses were basic white belts. Wait till you can see what we can do now. We're all black belts. We're gonna smoke all of that Blade stuff. End quote.
Holy fuck.
So I'm in. He's gonna be a little older, but I'm still in.
I mean, it's still Wesley Snipes, so I feel like it's still gonna be badass.
Right, and the synopsis for what he's planning, he says it's quote unquote set in a world of shapeshifters and a little bit of time travels. Of time travel.
Okay, I'm in. All right, well,
I'm excited about that.
I just have a bunch of little topics that we can just touch on, maybe give a little bit of... It's going to be Because, I mean, normally I don't want to talk about so much stuff, but just a lot of things have kind of popped up, and it's like, I thought they'd be interesting to talk about. If you want to go into those, and then we could tackle, like, your more detailed stuff in a little bit.
All right, let's do it.
So, one of the funniest things is going back to our favorite purple friend, Twitch.
I have to say, man, I haven't streamed in like weeks.
I know.
Like, I'm so over Twitch.
I mean, like, if you want me to help you set up streams on like YouTube instead, I'll do that.
Like, I hate Twitch. I hate the platform. I hate pretty much everything Twitch stands for. I hate Twitch's ownership. I hate Twitch's business plan. I hate Twitch's leadership.
Dude, let me know. We can work and get you set up on YouTube. I have no problem with that.
Oh God.
But anyway,
Twitchy witchy woo woo.
So you know how DMCA is like plaguing Twitch right now?
Yes, again, because of Twitch's inability of their management team to see this as a red flag. Yep. Could have easily been avoided years and years and years ago.
Yep. So BlizzCon happened earlier this week. I'm surprised you didn't have this as a story to talk about because this is hilarious. But BlizzCon happened, like it was virtual, and then at BlizzCon they had Metallica there, and you know Metallica was on stage playing their songs. And Twitch, on Twitch's own channel, on Twitch Gaming, which is like their own, like one of their own channels, when Metallica was playing live, they just put some just generic copyright-free, like 8-bit or like electronic video game style music over a Metallica concert to avoid DMCA.
That's so stupid. The
fact that Twitch themselves, and it's live music, like it's not like you're playing the copyrighted music, like it's a live version of it. And it was Twitch's own channel. Like, if you know that you're going to have Metallica here and you have DMC, you can reach out and settle that beforehand. Like, you're the host of this event or this stream, and even you can't solve your own DMCA issues. That's a terrible look.
That's because, as we know, Twitch's leadership team is more focused on other things.
Yes.
Such as banning you for no fucking reason.
So another thing, too, like, I didn't realize, but I was reading about the Metallica thing. Apparently, Metallica was, like, the spearhead in the whole, like, Napster being shut down thing, like, the illegal music streaming. So a lot of people are like, you know, this has come full circle. Like, Metallica shuts down music streaming. DMCA shuts down their live concert. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Right. I remember that South Park episode.
I just remember, like, I didn't watch BlizzCon, but I remember I opened up Twitter and I just kept seeing Metallica clips. Like, Twitter doesn't autoplay the volume. So I'm like, why does everyone keep posting Metallica clips? And, like, I clicked it and it's just, like, this band rocking out with just, like, generic, like, boo-doo, boo-doo-doo, like, music playing. And it's like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where, like, Metallica is not a rising artist. They have as much money as they ever would need. Like, if you just had your leadership team reach out to their lawyer or even them themselves and just said, hey, can you give us a piece of paper with your guys' signatures that says we're allowed to stream this, you know, to our audience, and everybody would be happy. I bet you anything they would have been like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing at a virtual event that's going to be live streamed, and it's a video game like themed event. I'm sure Metallica wouldn't have been like, no, fuck you. Like, they probably got paid God knows how much to go there anyway, so I'm sure them signing a piece of paper that says, hey, can people who can't go listen to it? Like, I doubt they'd be like, no.
I'm sorry, but Metallica is not the right band for that audience, in my opinion.
Right? That's weird. I also didn't want to mention it, but the fact that you said it, like, that seems very weird that it would be Metallica.
That doesn't make any sense. They don't have any real modern relevance.
Do you get Meshuggah up there?
Oh, I'd be down, dude.
Could you imagine, like, going to, like, a convention and, like, you know there's going to be a band there and then, like, Meshuggah comes out and you just start hearing them play Bleed? Like, how many, like...
Oh, dude, I would crack some weeb skulls.
Dude, so many... Well, what's funny is half the people there would get super hyped and the other half would be, like, scared.
I mean, just like when you talk to people in a game.
Dude, fuck yeah.
Scared, afraid. Yeah. Terrified, petrified.
Pissing themselves. So, I'll tackle this story just because I don't know if you saw this, but it's more on a somber note. But I don't know if you heard about this COD Mobile pro in Brazil. She was a female pro. Her name was Sol. I don't know if you heard about this.
The story's ringing a bell, but I don't remember any details.
So she's a Brazilian COD Mobile Pro streamer, and she was murdered by another male COD Pro or COD Mobile Pro streamer. And it's like, holy shit, man. Like, I know that like people go to like extremes to like stalk streamers and like harass them and stuff, but like, I mean, he full blown like confessed to just straight up murdering her, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, I don't know what the mentality is. I know like people get like harassed to like next level, like people dox people like crazy, swat them, but it's like now we're just murdering people, like other streamers. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, streaming is a very weird. I don't want to say weird, but it's like with how easily accessible like everyone's information is and stuff like that. It's like streaming is I don't want to say dangerous, but it's like there is a lot of risk that comes with it. I mean, you know, we've seen from the swatting stories, harassment, stalking, but it's like, goddamn. And like, it seems like stuff like this is really easy to do, which is kind of scary.
Right. Yeah, I didn't hear this amount of detail about this.
Yeah, no, I forget what his name was, but yeah, he apparently like just straight up, she was 19. I'm trying to look through this article. It just said the suspect, holy shit. So I think his name is Alves, Alves. I don't know how to say that. I'm assuming Alves Costa. This is an article from Dextero by Bill Cooney. And apparently a quote from like him at the scene or whatever was like, let's see, where was it at? In a video posted of the suspect being arrested, he can be heard saying, according to translations, quote, "My sanity is completely fit. I wanted to do this." Like, what the fuck, man?
That sounds like your sanity is not fit.
Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. Maybe there'll be more details. Maybe they had, you never know, like something going on the side that we don't know about. Maybe, you know, it'll come out that they had conflicts with each other's streams, or maybe he felt like she was doing something. It doesn't sound like this guy was totally stable, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm curious to see like what's like, you know, like a psych evaluation of it, but it's just like, you know, him just being like, "Oh yeah, I meant to do this." Like, all right, you fucking freak. Like, goddamn.
Right. So we'll have to see what comes out of that, because I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean that should put like waves throughout like the competitive gaming community. Like everyone was like, "What the hell's happening?" But yeah, I guess switching back to more happier news or whatever. I know you mentioned it last time, I think, but did you see that the System Shock reboot demo is coming out this summer?
That's great. I remember I referenced that there's going to be a full VR mode.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, and I guess like the demo's slated for summer. Now, if that, with how many delays have been happening, it could happen again. But, you know, I'll admit I never really played System Shock. I know about what it is, and I know that it's like it's like a golden standard of just like psychological sci-fi, like horror and thriller, and just, I mean, people say even to this day, it's like, yeah, the mechanics are kind of buggy, but the gameplay itself and the story is still like just as good.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm excited. I never played it, so that's something I'm looking forward to playing through.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, oh fuck, and like it looks like they're trying to do like a true remake. So I'm like, oh cool, this will be the experience that like, you know, people like you and me like get to deserve.
Right. I'm in.
Dude, fuck yeah. And then speaking of VR or whatever, did you see that Sony kind of announced a little bit of like the next gen VR?
So I saw something. I still frequent PSVR Reddit. I actually got into an economic argument with somebody on there, being a big brain jackass. I'm actually glad you mentioned this. So I don't mean to tangent off. I'll come back to this. The short answer is that I saw a headline about it, but I don't know any details about it. So do you want to share the details, and then I'll tell my tangent?
I mean, the details, like, they didn't really say, like, you know, what's coming. It just says that they're working on, you know, integration for the new controller, like the, whatever they call the PS5 controller, the DualSense 4 or whatever. They're working on, like, new hardware for everything. Like, they want it to be, like, as advanced and next gen as they can. And they're just pretty much coming out saying, like, we're working, like, trying to integrate everything and make it super smooth, which, I mean, the PSVR for what it is really good. So it's like, if they can do, like, with how much console and hardware, like, leaps each generation, like, the PS5 PSVR could be, like, almost up to, like, VR settings, you know?
I would say, yeah, I would agree with that. And again, I know I've talked about it on the prior cast. I've even talked about it with like work colleagues as an example of innovation. But one of the biggest drawbacks of PSVR relative to PC VR are the controllers.
Yeah.
Like those Move controllers. I mean, it's a wonderful example of Sony of taking a ship product that didn't work for its intended purpose and repurposing it for something else to where it actually functions reasonably well.
Yeah, no, that was a really resourceful move on their part, and I'm sure that saved them a fuckload of money in the back end.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with the next generation of PSVR.
Honestly, too, like going on the Move controllers, like compared to like other VR controllers, like, I mean, the Move controllers are just kind of sticks, whereas other controllers are like form fit to your hands and stuff. And it's like the Move controllers, I kind of like them. Like, I think they work really well.
So, and here's some context around the Move controllers. The exact same Move controllers that you and I are using now were created. No, they weren't created. I'm sorry. They were open to the market. They were being sold as of November 11th, 2012.
Yeah.
So these things are 10 years old.
I mean, I like them. And then I know people say like, oh, it's money grabbing, but it's like, you know, like the fact that they made extra controllers, like, you know, like the aim controller, and it's like, all right, this is sick. Like they made it.
I love the aim controller.
I mean, the aim controller, like I know VR, like even like with PC VR, like you still have to use like your two hands, but it's like, dude, the aim controller is like the move.
Yeah, because and that's what they tried to remedy with the aim controller was adding those movement sticks onto the aim controller itself, which is what everybody wanted on the Move controllers.
Dude, the aim controller is awesome. Like if they could pretty much take that and use it for PS5, and it would still be just as good. That controller was borderline perfect. It had a tracking, like for some reason mine would always kind of like start aiming to the left over time, and I just chalked it up to like maybe I was turning and not realizing it.
I mean, you suck.
Dude, fuck yeah. But anyway, so what was your tangent? I'm curious to hear about this.
So the tangent was, as I said, I still frequent PSVR Reddit and post on it, pretty often. And people have been having trouble getting the free adapter, keyword free, adapter from Sony to hook up your headset now to the PS5 and everything functions. And it's a free adapter, again. Mm-hmm. And so they've been short in supply and people have been trying to get them. So this one guy posted on Reddit that he had been waiting like weeks and weeks and weeks for his to come, and he called Sony, and then it showed up the next day, and he opened the package, and it was the manual for this adapter and then a bottle of hand sanitizer, but no adapter. and then the tangent that I was going to go off on was somebody had commented on there and be like, there's your capitalistic system at work for you. Somebody's stealing it. And then I commented and I was like, look, we all get that you've got a big fucking brain, but like this has nothing to do with anything. Like we understand you need to talk about economic theory because it makes you feel like you're like a big brain chode, but like get the fuck out of here. And he tried to argue with me. So I was just like, dude, we get it. Your brain is yitch.
Dude, all I know is the fact that like he'd been waiting for so long.
He even posted a picture of it.
You might have to link that to me because that might be like the shitty laugh I need.
And he was just like, "What the fuck?"
So, whenever you were talking about going off on a tangent on someone on Reddit, what made me kind of like laugh and get giddy was like I was just imagining the Shoe Nice scenario, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Oh yeah, I've been trying to pick a fight with Shoe and Ice on TikTok because he's such a piece of shit.
If you don't know who Shoe Nice is, like I almost don't even want to tell you to look him up because it's just like once you watch Shoe Nice videos, like you kind of put a cap on like your happiness. Like you'll be like, all right, well I'm never gonna pass like a certain level of happiness because I've seen something this sad and pathetic.
God, he sucks.
He's a piece of shit. So yeah, Spencer is really trying to get a fight with them, and I'm all for it. Dude, you want a bottle of hand sanitizer?
I would have been pretty pissed.
I would have been pissed, but I also would have laughed. Just be like, dude, what the hell? Was there any follow up? Like, did he reach back out to Sony and like they sent him a new one, or
yeah, they sent him a new one? But it was just funny, just opening like this package and then hand sanitizer. But the manual for the adapter was still in there.
That's funny. So, real quick,
there's your capitalistic society for you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, fuck yeah. So real quick, I'm assuming you've watched it, but what is just like your immediate short thought on the new Mortal Kombat movie trailer?
It actually looks pretty badass.
Okay, same. Dude, I got really hyped watching that trailer.
I never watched the original because it's so notoriously shitty.
I feel like you have to watch it for that reason. Like, I've watched it and it is just god awful, but it's like Sharknado. It's like, it's so bad, but it's like you have to. Do you remember that time we all hung out and we watched Sharknado and like at the end, like you and Doug were like, what the fuck was that?
I mean, it's not a good film.
But I mean, the new Mortal Kombat movie actually does look really fucking good, and I'm very excited for it. I do want.
I actually do want it too.
Like, and I'm hoping like the trailer kind of made it look very like video gamey too, like with the whole like how the fights were played out and like the environmental effects and fatalities. So I don't that Sub-Zero like fatality thing where he like hit the guy and like froze his blood in the air and like stabbed him with it. I was like, okay, that's straight out of like a video game. Like how just yeah. So I'm so excited for that game. I got to see. I think I saw him in the trailer, but it's like I want to see Baraka. Like he's like one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters.
Oh, you want?
They had Goro in there.
I'm in.
Goro. They had I think they had like everyone. They had Ermac. It'd be really cool if that movie series takes off and they do like what the games do and start bringing in like third party people, like how they have like the Terminator and the Alien and Freddy and Jason. Like that'd be cool as hell.
They've added so many characters.
They really have, like Spawn, Joker. Like it's pretty intense. So I have one more thing to talk about, and then we can talk about that patent mechanics you have. But I thought this was funny because we talked about this, I believe, like when we first started the cast or whatever. But like, you know, the game EA's like big game, or BioWare's big game Anthem.
Yes, it is done.
Yeah, they're just officially dropping that game. Like, there's no more Anthem 2 coming out. There's no more support for that game. And I never played the game because, like, I remember when I saw the trailer, I was like, damn, this game looks fucking awesome. But then when it came out, people were like, this is just lackluster and bare bones. And then EA was like, well, we're going to, you know, put a lot of effort into this and bring it back up. And then now it's getting just completely canned. So it's like, good one. Like, I don't know. I guess it's a bad. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe they just weren't making getting a good return on it for the amount of work they were putting into it. But it's like, rarely do you see a game just get completely fucking dropped like that so early on in its life.
Yeah, it got demolished.
I mean, it looked cool. Like, there was so much potential in that game.
But they fucked it up.
You just start remastering old EA and BioWare games. Somewhat off topic, but we turned it on for Scarlett, my daughter, earlier today. We were like browsing stuff to watch, and we saw Animaniacs on Hulu. I'm sure you remember that show from when we were kids.
That was such a weird reboot. I don't know why they did that.
Honestly, though, watching it, like, the reboot really wasn't for like kids. It was for us, like, because it's very tongue-in-cheek and satirical. Like, the very first episode is just mocking Hollywood and creators for just rebooting and regurgitating stuff with like little effort just to rake in money. And I was just like watching, I was like, damn, like they are really tongue-in-cheek with this episode, which Animaniacs has always been kind of a satirical show. But that first episode, I was just like, damn, they are really going in.
Well, it's like they also just remade the Tom and Jerry movie.
And then the second episode,
who gives a fuck?
Did on the second episode of Animaniacs, I'll try and find it. It was like a retelling of like Odysseus. And they threw him on the island with the giant Cyclops. The giant Cyclops was Trump.
Oh,
it was just some fat orange Cyclops. He's like, I live on this island. This is the best island.
That actually is kind of funny.
He's like, I could see everything with my two big eyes.
I do kind of like that.
Dude, I was like, me and Casey were both just laughing. I'm like, dude, this is like prime like satire. But anyway, like, I know people say it's cheap, but it's like, hey, old shit works. Bring back, dude. EA and BioWare have some good old properties they could bring back, like fucking KOTOR. Oh wait, actually no.
Scared?
Why am I even complaining? We're getting Mass Effect Legendary Edition or whatever it's called. We're getting our reboot. We're good.
You can fuck.
It's gonna
off,
look
kid.
so fucking good.
You can fuck off, kid.
Dude, I love how we still like compare like the screenshots of the old game, and it's like, no,
I mean, I was having genuine trouble telling them apart, and I even retweeted them out to prove I wasn't just being like some old grumpy boomer.
Did you ever install mods for the first? I thought you talked about you were gonna like do some mods for the first one. Did you ever get around to that?
Yet, no.
Okay. Well, let's get on to this patent thing that you're talking about because that sounds. Oh, and Cyberpunk, yes.
So I have played a decent amount of Cyberpunk.
Decent
Recently. So far, I mean, some of the mechanics do feel a little aged already, but I mean, the game looks great. It plays great.
In terms of, what do you mean the mechanics feel
like
aged?
Movement of AI. Like
okay.
They don't move very fluidly like you'd expect. They kind of move kind of like an older generation game.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, the gunplay feels really good. I like the hacking system. So far, the story's great. I've had a couple of bug problems where when I would boot up the game and try to just continue from my last save, the game would crash. And it did that a few times in a row, and then it finally worked, and then I just made a new save, and it was good to go. But again, I shouldn't have to deal with that. I've had a few things floating around in the air, like cigarettes or a briefcase, hamburger or something, but nothing, no game-breaking bugs.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Like cars flying across the map or, no, like wall clipping or something like that. Nothing crazy like that.
I still keep seeing that clip going around, or like I still keep seeing instances where like cars will like randomly just launch across map, and it's like I don't know what causes that, but good one.
Right. So I mean, overall, I'm enjoying the game. I like the story. It's a very adult story, which I'm into. Just the themes are very, very, obviously the game's called Cyberpunk, very Cyberpunk themed game. I've run into Keanu Reeves' character now, and his character,
Johnny Silverhands.
Yeah, his character in the game is pretty cool. Like the way they're working him in is pretty cool. I like that. I don't want to spoil anything. But other than that, though, I saw that there was a bug. That this is what I teased earlier. There was a bug that CD Projekt Red has officially announced is a bug, when, in my opinion, they should have not said it was a bug and just said it was part of the game, where there's a character in the game called Adam Smasher, if you've heard of him. And just think of him as like, your traditional bodyguard of an antagonist. Like all he has left that's human is like a head. And the rest
is he like the completely robotic dude?
Yes.
So he looks badass.
Yeah, he's pretty intense. And so the bug is that, and this has been popping up all over Reddit for people, where after Adam Smasher is gone, which I'm not even at that part in the game, but because I know who he is, the bug kind of like made sense to me, and I could see how this would be kind of creepy. People started reporting on Reddit that they were seeing ghosts within the game, Adam Smasher's ghost, like chasing them down, like randomly, and like not being able to really hurt them, but just essentially turning like certain aspects of the game randomly into like a horror game.
That would actually be cool.
Yeah, and so that's what's been happening. And CD Projekt Red came out and said, "Oh, sorry, it's just a bug, shouldn't be there, blah, blah, blah." But then people have been posting on Reddit, like them walking down a hallway, and then all of a sudden Adam Smasher comes barreling through the wall in front of them and starts chasing them. So again, if I was CD Projekt Red, I would have found a way to fix that in and been like, well, your character's got a bunch of cyber implants in his head.
It could be glitching.
Wink.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, damn, they really could have ran with that as like a cool idea.
I mean, how cool would that have been? Like, so again, it's just CD Projekt Red just so overwhelmed. Like nobody, because they could have just patched it behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And just left the story as it was.
Damn, though. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, just like walking down like an alley at night, and then you just see that big robotic dude just start like barreling at you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that sounds crazy.
That'd be awesome. Fuck, man.
So, yeah, that's all my Cyberpunk news. Lawsuit's still going forward. No new details on that.
Just kind of, since, I know we kind of talk about them hand in hand because they're two big single-player games that we've been playing, but
Hots?
I've been playing more and I've been playing more and more of Metro. I beat Metro last night, and I've been playing more of Metro Exodus, and it's like, God damn, that game's so good.
I was gonna say, I'm actually decently far into the first Metro novel that was written. Let's see. I actually don't know when it was written. It was written a long time ago.
Yeah, they're old books. And like he was telling me about the books, and like I know the books aren't going to be like the games because, you know, a game you have to have like, you know, constant action and shit going on. I know books are slower paced, but I've heard the books are very, very good.
2002 is when the first Metro book was written.
And like I think Vitch said this on like a previous episode when he was talking about playing Metro, but it's like I know nothing like that's ever happened, but for some reason Metro just feels very realistic.
Right.
Like I don't know how to describe it, but it feels just so grounded and real.
Right. It's not over the top, and you're not constantly running into enemies, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's very atmospheric, which if you even read the reviews of all the Metro games, that's what they say is like one of the biggest selling point is they're like the atmosphere is what really sells the game.
So
I just do not like
Go ahead.
I'm just not a big fan of the level I'm on Metro right now.
Oh, the desert?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one gets old.
It's cool, but I'm like, dude, there was one part, I don't know if you did it, but spoilers, fuck you, game's over a year old. But I don't know, did you ever do any like the side missions and stuff?
Yeah, I did most of them.
So there was like one where it's like you meet Anna like in like some tower by the desert, and she's like pointing out like there's a crane there and this here.
Yes, I did all of those.
But, like, yeah, but there was like one where there was like a main building, and then there was like kind of this little side warehouse, and when you go into it, it's like a warehouse, but it's kind of like a maze, like with all the shelves, and
I remember
like
that, yeah.
it's a bunch of like those like sand humanimal things.
Yeah.
But what really like it kind of like scared me is that like they can still like talk and stuff, like they're still like human. So I was like walking around in there, and I would hear like, "Hey, like over here," and I'm like, "The fuck's going on?" And then they all just started like crawling out of the sand, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude!"
Did you like that? You got wrecked.
I mean, they got wrecked. That fucking the pneumatic gun puts in work. Best gun in the game.
I'm
I hate
scared.
that. I hate that I pretty much only play the game with that gun.
I mean, that's what I did, and I would only whip out the ammunition guns for, you know, big fights, like something you're coming up to very soon in the next level.
Hell yeah.
Not going to say anything else.
But yeah, Metro's amazing game. Really, really pretty. And it kind of makes me want to go back and play Cyberpunk now that it's gotten better, like, because Cyberpunk was gorgeous. So now I'm like, cool. The game's playable now and it looks good, so I might have a better time.
Well, seeing as we're bumping against time, I'll jump into this article here real quick. So
Yes.
what I'll do is I'll name the article is PC Gamer by Jeremy Peel. And so what I'll do, since it's 5 game mechanics, I'll name the 5, and then we can pick maybe 2 of them to talk about.
Okay.
So these are 5 game mechanics that have been patented by the companies to where nobody else can use them. And so the first one is Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system.
Okay, yep.
Mass Effect's Dialogue Wheel.
What?
Exactly. That's one we'll definitely talk about because I like frowned when I read that. Splinter Cell's Last Known Position.
Dude. Okay, continue.
Final Fantasy's Active Time Battle.
Okay.
And then Crazy Taxi's Objective Arrow. And by that, they're talking about if you remember playing the game at Dave & Buster's or an arcade or anything, whenever you're driving the car, there's like an arrow at the top of the screen that just kind of generally directs you where to go.
Crazy Taxi was a great game. So I was expecting bigger things. Like the Nemesis system's kind of a big thing, but it's like patenting a dialogue wheel, an arrow. Like, come on, man.
So let's talk about that one because that was my thought too. So I'm just going to read from the article here. So you might know Casey Hudson, Drew, I'm going to mispronounce his name, Karpyshyn, he's one of the writers, BioWare, Ray Mazkuya, James Olin, and Mike Laidlaw. Ain't no law without Laidlaw.
Laying down the law with Laidlaw.
Sorry, that's a high school reference.
Fuck your wife.
As famous BioWare developers, all present during the studio's golden era. But they're also technically inventors. Each is credited on the patent for what is recognizably Mass Effect's dialogue wheel. It's divided into segments, and each one offers a different choice. Cleverly, BioWare didn't specify a shape, so canny rivals won't be able to get away with a square dialogue or trapezoid dialogue wheel. So and then continuing from the article, I'll be honest, lots of these game patents are dry reads, but this one is livened up by some diagrams demonstrating past methods of presenting dialogue in games. There's one from Tex Murphy's game, the Pandora Directive, and features two blank mannequins on the line. Hold it right here. What? I don't know what this is. I'm skipping that. So essentially, they patented the fact that you have a wheel in Mass Effect, and then coming off that wheel are your dialogue choices, and you just move your thumbstick or your mouse to pick one of them.
Okay, so when something's real quick, just from my understanding, when something's patented, other games can use it then, right?
If you pay for it.
Okay, because when we had the freeze come through, my internet was out, but I had power. So I was playing this single-player game called Kingdoms of Amular Reckoning, and it had a dialogue wheel in it at points. So that's why I was like, wonder, it's not made by...
What was the name of the game?
Kingdoms of Amular, Amalur. And so, why... I guess, it makes some money or stuff, but it's like, God damn, man, really?
So it's funny that you mentioned that. That's essentially what a lot of people were saying in the comments to this article. They're just kind of like, I feel like, these. Okay,
so real quick,
go ahead.
Kingdoms of Amular is made by EA, so that's probably why they got away with it. Never mind. I was like, wait a second. I was like, when I was saying that, I was like, wait, I think that game is EA.
There you go.
Damn, man, a fucking dialogue wheel.
Because, if you think about, the Fallout series, they don't have a wheel. It's like just a list, and you pick from that list.
Yep. That's exactly. I was trying to think of other games that use wheels, and it's like it's a lot of lists.
So, actually, I want to volunteer because I think we have time to talk about both Final Fantasy, since you can probably shed some light on that, and Crazy Taxi is what I want to talk about.
The Crazy Taxi one is honestly, other than the wheel, the Crazy Taxi one is the other one that really got me.
So it has a direct impact. So let me read from the article. So Crazy Taxi's objective arrow. Few noticed when Sega applied for an obscure patent in the late 90s, but they sat up when the company began brandishing it as a weapon. A couple of years after Crazy Taxi hit the arcades, and shortly before it was ported to PC, Radical Entertainment made The Simpsons Road Rage, a console-only clone of Crazy Taxi that swapped out the generic screeching passengers for Springfield's Sea Captain and Bumblebee Man and other characters.
Real quick, that game is awesome.
So you'll see why there wasn't a Road Rage 2. Sega spotted the resemblance and filed an infringement suit in U.S. court, which was settled soon after. And no wonder. Sony's patent covered everything from the way pedestrians dodged cars to the giant arrow that pointed drivers to their next destination. BioShock got away with that last one, though, maybe because patent law doesn't apply. It's a joke. Doesn't apply in Rapture's notoriously free markets. So that's what they're saying, that they got Simpsons Road Rage 1 got sued to bejeevis, so they never made a Road Rage 2.
Damn, I always wondered, because that game was like...
Everyone loves that game.
That game was unbelievably popular, so that's why I'm like, what the hell? Like, why did it never come through? And now I know.
So there you go.
Jesus.
So yeah, okay. It's just a direct impact of patent. People think patent law is very boring and all this stuff, but it's got such serious impacts.
I feel like keeping up with stuff like that is so hard to do, because it's
Dude, patent law is its own specialty.
Yeah, I know patent laws. They're super people can sue for the smallest infringement on their patent. It's God damn, really? Right. And then you said the ATB was one for Final Fantasy?
Right. And so this is one I've never used, so that's why I figured you might be able to shed a little bit of light on it. So I'll read it. So it's Final Fantasy's Active Time Battle. As Kevin said, ATB. ATB is a cornerstone of Square Enix classic JRPG series, an advancement on turn-based combat that took the speed stats of characters into account so that especially quick enemies could get an extra attacks per turn. It brought real-time tension to what had previously had been stolid RPG scraps, and knew it. The after aforementioned, this is a quote now within the article of somebody else from, it looks like the series directors of Final Fantasy. They said, the aforementioned conventional RPG, which action takes place during turn, is a static game and lacks realism. So that's their rationale for putting this together. So it just says, yeah, that I don't quite know how this functions because, when I think of an RPG, I think of KOTOR, which is very turn-based.
Yeah.
So maybe you can shed some light on active time battle and if you've seen any other mechanics in other RPGs that have something that.
So yeah, I was actually thinking about it, and I don't know if they dodge it, but it's like, yeah, essentially active time battle. It's like, Final Fantasy, it's like, it's kind of turn-based, but like, there is time to like build up certain moves. Like if a move takes like, a big chunk of your gauge, you have to wait for that gauge to fill up. And if like your character's got shit speed, it takes a while. If he's got fast speed, it comes back quick, and so on and so forth for the enemies. That's why like you won't see enemies throw out like their super like crazy hardcore moves because it's building up, and same with your character. But, and I'm curious because it's like, it's not technically, I don't know if it's ATB, but so Pokemon, which is another like, kind of turn-based game, like there's an item you can give your Pokemon. I forgot what it's called, but it essentially gives them like a boosted speed so that they can get the first attack in, and certain moves like can get an attack in before they can. So I'm like, is that how Pokemon dodged this patent? Is like, it's not part of the game. It's just an item in the game that helps out that stat.
That's what I would say. And I'm reading a little further down, and it says Square Enix's ATB patents expired in early 2010. At a time when the series had turned its back on the system in favor of various combat experiments.
You said it ended when now?
It sounds like early 2010s. So I guess 2010, 2011.
I'm trying to see.
But I mean, I would easily argue that you're correct in assuming that it's okay from Pokemon because it's an item. It's not an inherent stat of like a character that influences the combat game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm looking to see like what game it was. So Final Fantasy, not 10, not 12. Is it 13? So, okay, that's funny. So 13, which came out in 2009, like 2010 and stuff, they kind of changed up the way their battle system worked on that game. Like it was still an ATB, but it also was like, what was it called? It wasn't called ATB. It was called something else, but it was like, you could actually like, depending on like your class, was how the move went up, and like you would have to constantly shift your class to like balance damage versus staggering versus your ATB gauge. So it kind of makes sense that around Final Fantasy 13 is when that stopped. Because even I noticed that. I'm like, Final Fantasy 13 plays different than other ones.
Interesting. I didn't know this. Yeah, I just don't know too much about the game. Or the
That's
series.
so weird that little shit like that could be patented.
Oh, in fact, I'm actually interested in this a little more. Let's put it down for next session that I want to try to find some more patents for games.
Like little ones, like the Nemesis one, like that's a full blown system. I get that.
Right, that one is. That one was one of the ones when I read it, I was like, yeah, I can already know this makes sense.
Yeah, it's a full blown system the way the game works. It's not, a little circle at the bottom of your screen that pops up during dialogue or an arrow. So that's why I'm like, we'll have to look up too. Like,
although I will point out though, I know we're bumping time, but
yeah,
around the Shadow of Mordor thing. Warner Brothers got serious flack from the industry for patenting their Nemesis system. Just here's a quote that says,
"Why?"
This is halfway through the article. So now that Warner has succeeded, it's been immediately rewarded with blanket condemnation from the rest of the industry, including Obsidian director Josh Sawyer, Vlambeer co-founder Rami Ismail, and John Wick hex designer Mike Bithnell. This is really gross. This is a quote from these guys. This is really gross, especially for a franchise that built its brilliant Nemesis system on top of a whole heap of mechanics replicated from other games, as all games do, because that's how culture and creativity works. Be a better neighbor, Warner Brothers. I don't agree with that. I think that's their system.
Yeah, I mean, like I get it. So like when they were saying like
makes sense.
Yeah, like when they were saying like built off other games, like I know.
You mean like moving? Like what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, no, I mean I know a lot of people compare the Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor series to Assassin's Creed with the whole climbing, like the dolphin diving thing off. They're similar, but like the Nemesis system was like a really unique thing. So it's like I think Warner Brothers has full like. It's completely in their power to be like, we developed this system, we're gonna patent it. Like that was like Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor's biggest selling point was that Nemesis system.
Right. I don't have any problem with them patenting that, to be honest.
Yeah, like how are you gonna get mad at stuff like that and then like excuse, like the little things we talked about, like a fucking
stupid wheel?
Yeah, like an error or a wheel. Like like that just makes me think that these devs were like, "Fuck, that's a good idea," and now we can't use it.
Exactly.
That's like, sorry, that's how fucking patents work. Like you snooze, you lose.
Right. Especially when you're dealing with EA, a massive publicly traded company. They have patent lawyers on retainer that are just going to sit there, and everything that is developed in-house, they will patent. Which, as they should. I mean, that's their job.
So I'm wondering, too, like, we'll have to look into it if I don't know if you can patent sounds.
I don't know, actually. We'll have to look into it.
Because I've heard, like the Halo recharge sound, like that kind of, like I've heard, like, that kind of humming noise in other games, or, like, I'm wondering if there's, like, stock sounds that exist. Okay. We'll have to look into that because I've heard other games sound like I've heard the same sound in multiple games before. So it's like I'm wondering if those sounds are stock sounds and I just don't realize it, or if some devs being a scumbag. Dude, let's just get a bunch of people pissed at us for a patent. Snooze, you fucking lose.
I'm in.
All right, well, this has been episode 44, a little bit longer. I mean, we had a lot to catch up on for being out of commission for a week.
Just a little side note, the Nintendo D-pad is also patented.
That's so stupid. How? When there's other D-pads on other controllers?
Usually patents have a lifespan.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then. Jesus. Yeah, well, this might have to be like a recurring theme is the patents, because I'm in. I'm going to start looking some up too.
Yeah. Anyways, I know we went over, but it was a good cast. I enjoyed it.
Hell yeah, and I'll still be streaming. I might set Vitch up on YouTube, and we'll tackle that next cast if we do that. Poopy tube. But
are you smiling?
Yeah, this has been episode 44. Catch us on HOTS. Just kidding. I'm not playing that garbage.
HOTS is badass, by the way.
God.
Are you smiling? Oh no, you have to sign off first.
Yeah. What if I just don't sign off?
It's you. Are you smiling?
Oh, this has been Case 2.
Are you smiling, big boy? It is your boy, Big old Savage, coming in hot now. We're going to get that dude now.
Oh, God, I'm nervous.
Seaman.
Seaman.